Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to the Plaid Sheep Oracle. Your first card out this week is this Starseed Oracle, Earthed. Now it says learning how to be human in the world, but not of it. But I am mostly attracted here to this image, right, of this figure suspended in this bubble. Kind of makes me think of Glinda, the Good Witch, and her giant soap bubble from The Wizard of Oz. And perhaps, you are a fixed energy. Your traditional ruler is Saturn. So you absolutely have the ability for practical engagement with the world, for being grounded and earthy and disciplined and having good structure. But there is also this contrary energy of Uranus. And it may be that you've been identifying more with Uranus up until this point. I think that, right, he's a sexier energy than Saturn, who may seem kind of dull or stolid or repressed. But that, I think, is our sort of distortion of that energy. We've made Saturn into this more authoritarian figure. So perhaps you've been holding yourself back from something, maybe because it seems too practical, perhaps, or confining in some way. But I think that is a misperception. So we have this wind card here. And what always has struck me about this card is that it's not actually chaotic. It only kind of appears that way at first glance. But actually everything in this card is sort of, right, there's nothing is really kind of broken open, right? This house is whole, the roof hasn't blown off. Right, the little train is still on its track. Everything is moving in an organized fashion. But it is wind and change. And underneath that, we have this beginnings card. So I think that you are beginning to really learn how to master all of the elements. So not just air and lightning, air, sort of this electric Uranus energy, which may be where kind of some of your focus has been, or your attention. And then we have this inner core, solidity. But it's, again, a sort of contradictory idea, right? The card is solidity, and yet there is this flow and this openness. So the idea that one can have this solid inner core of strength and stability, and then, to have this inspired movement at the same time. And we see that here too in this richness card. Marine life. Right, there's this figure here. She kind of often disappears into the background. There's so much going on. Right, it can be, you know, overwhelming, but she has her own stability to be in the middle of all of this and comfortable. You know, having the ability to dream into this rich space, to dream of all these different things. And then with this ocean's bravery and this rain fecundity card, to bring those dreams into reality. And it may indeed require some courage to do this. I think there is maybe there's some step that has to be taken first. Some step really in the solid world that maybe you've been avoiding in some way. I mean, this could be, you know, anything in the earthy front. It could be, you know, starting a new project, or, you know, maybe asking for more responsibility at whatever job you have. Or it could be buying a home, or getting pregnant, or having a child, perhaps adopting a child. So there is something that you've been wanting, that maybe you have been dreaming about, but perhaps you've been daunted by the earthy practical arrangements. Maybe it seems like, and I sort of feel like that it's something like a business or a child, or, right, something that creates added responsibility. And it may be that you are afraid that this is going to like clip your wings in some way, that it will actually, right, that it'll bring you to earth. That, you know, once you do this, you know, it could be buying a home. It's possible that you've been renting for your whole life. That's, you know, it's really changeable, right? You get to the end of your lease and you can leave. Whereas buying a home is, you know, a much more permanent thing. It's not so simple. There's greater responsibility, right? You are responsible for maintaining the space. Or maybe it's even a relationship. Perhaps you've been in a relationship and you haven't wanted to commit. And by commitment, I think I actually mean something like marriage, a real, like creating a real bond that can't simply be broken by you packing a bag and walking out the door. Certainly a child is absolutely this kind of commitment. So there's courage, because doing any of these things is very vulnerable. And, right, it takes dedication, this 8 of discs. Right, this commitment to something, to devote yourself or dedicate yourself to something. To create a focus for yourself, a dedication that does perhaps interfere with an absolute ability to just up and go. Here with this Six of Cups innocence, there's this bit of a deer in the headlights feeling for me here. This, you know, you may be feeling like maybe if you do this, you're going to have to grow up, right? Become an adult. And that's not really attractive, right? That's that Saturn thing. This feeling that adulthood means certain things. And it could still mean this if you're 60 or 70 even, perhaps. You could still have this feeling that you're going to cross some sort of line. And you'll lose your innocence. And so with this Four of Cups meditation card, I think you've been, right, spending a lot of time thinking about it. Maybe there's even, right, a real longing for what this commitment will offer. Right, the longing of your heart. But you've been reluctant to reach out and take it. And when I pulled this card, another card got stuck to it underneath. And that card is this Princess of Cups, and she has taken the cup. She's taken the cup. And then we have this Eight of Cups, and this always looks to me like bowling, right? Like you're going to take that moon and roll it and knock down all of those cups. All these cups that are filled with fears and old ideas about what adulthood means. You know, maybe your parents were really responsible and they didn't do anything fun, you know, and they just saved up for their retirement. They were going to have fun when they retired. And, you know, everything was, you know, very serious and fiscally responsible and all of these things. And this just seemed like no fun to you. And so you've been avoiding it because this is your only vision of what it means, you know, of what Saturn means. Now, astrologically, Saturn has just turned direct in Pisces. He's moving in the beginning very, very slowly. He's not going to leave that 0 degree of Pisces for a couple of weeks. But he is going forward. And he's moving through Pisces. Right? This watery energy, allowing you to just knock down all these cups and to move into this new universe, this new world that is possible. That these right? That many of your beliefs around what it means to be an adult, to be earthy, to be committed, to be responsible, are not the truth. So we have this Kelk mortared card, yeah, this mortared together. You know, this actually talks about sort of like calcium deposits, you know, where something can become, you know, kind of covered over, right? Like if you have maybe a leaky faucet somewhere with hard water, and you can start to, you know, the minerals can, you know, deposit and create this this kind of mortared, stuck thing over time. But you also have the weird Hamir, the all rune, the understanding that this fixedness, this what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. This, you know, right, like being glued into place, calcified, is not a truth, right? There's all these possibilities. And you are now willing, with this hang true, to, right, to cast this hook into the waters, to catch what you want. And to be true to this vision that you've had. To be true to an understanding that all the elements work together. And so there we have the spark, the torch, the idea, the inspiration, the you know, I sort of what pops into mind is, right, the lighting of the Olympic torch at the beginning, right, of the Olympic flame. This statement, we have begun. And unlike the Olympic flame, it's not going to go out. It may change, right? The project may change, the parameters may change. If it's a relationship, it will grow and expand. If it's a business, it may be a business for a while and then a new business. There's room for all the elements to move. Responsibility is not death or calcification. And so we have this Seven of Pentacles, which for me always calls up the red shoes, right? This dancing until you die. But that's not, right? It's not what we're talking about. This is not what has to be. This is only the fear. And what we have instead is this Four of Wands. This right? This light arriving to illuminate you, right? Seeing your way forward, seeing your way forward clearly and extra clearly with this high priestess. And she's an excellent example of the combination of flesh and ether. For she is flesh and blood, but she receives downloads and information and guidance from the ethers. How to put things into practice in a way that you will love, that won't feel even remotely like drudgery or a prison. A devotion that is expansive and beautiful, right? That is not being stuck in a cell, but is Teresa of Avila's on fire, Teresa in flames. And flames are present throughout this reading, although some of them hidden. Here they come out explicitly. Whatever this project is, it will set you on fire. So there's fire here. At the bottom of this deck is the Queen of Wands. Expansive, gorgeous, powerful, fiery. At the bottom of the Liffruma deck is the Sisal, the sun, the life force. At the bottom of this deck, we have the lovers, inflamed with the passion of this commitment. And even here, the bushfires, fire everywhere. So now actually I sort of, I went in this order, but we start with this bushfires card, which does feel, right, it feels a little bit out of control initially. And then maybe a little bit of the fear, right, that things will slip out of your control in some way. But before you know it, you'll be stuck. But that is not the case, because you're going to have this ability. You're going to have the heart guidance of the lovers, the clarity of the sun, the inspiration and wisdom and sovereignty of the Queen of Wands. Right? This is fire that you have mastered, mastery of the fire element, mastery of your passions. And not in a repressed, suppressed, boxed up way, but in a contained way, right? Like the bowl of the Olympic or the Vestal fire. That burns brightly and freely, but it is contained. It has this structure, this stability, this plan. So Oh, actually, before I get to the advice, the underlying card on this deck, I don't always show this, but here it is, lifting the veil. Questioning everything. Anything unaligned must go. Yeah. So knocking down all of the old beliefs. And believe me when I tell you that I know this is not easy. It's simple. It's not a complex idea, but it takes practice. It takes doing it over and over again. And I am well aware of that. The mind can have well-worn pathways. And creating new ones does take practice. Turning again and again to this richness, this fecundity, this expansiveness. So, advice. Now, we have this Two of Swords. But here, I mean, there is a sense of decision, right? Committing to this path, making the decision to do it. But also, just that it's these scissors. Because right underneath it is the Five of Pentacles. And at the bottom is the Four of Cups. And at the end of the row over here is the Five of Cups. And the thought I had immediately was that, right, this is cutting these things out. Right? You're just snipping away, cutting away all these things that are no longer needed, and not in a violent way, but in kind of a crafty way. Like making clothes, right? You cut the cloth in such a way so that the clothes are the right shape. Or like Michelangelo talking about sculpture, right? Where he just removes everything that doesn't belong, right? He had his big block of stone and he removed everything that was not the dated. So you're just removing everything that is not in alignment with this vision. And then what you have left here in the center under the advice, we have the Ace of Pentacles, right? Coming after this world universe card, the new world, the new being, the new thing that you are creating. Then we have the King of Cups, drinking. He is drinking this cup. You've gone from this princess who's just picked up, she's accepted the cup, to the king who is drinking freely from this cup of nectar. Drinking freely. And then the Hierophant. But it's this particular Hierophant. Right? The sort of crunchy, jazzy, magical, hippie Hierophant. So you don't have to be all stilted, you know, covered in papal robes and formal. You don't have to be boxed in, right? This is not necessarily a three-piece suit job unless you really enjoy that. Right? You might like a really sharp suit, but you don't have to. This is about you finding your way. You don't have to do it anybody else's. Right? The card that's under this one is you're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness, Aquarius. In whatever way that means. Do things your way. Be the kind of adult that you wished you had in your life when you were a kid. Be the kind of adult you wish everybody could be. Who can have fun, but also who can be disciplined and dedicated to their life and to all the details in it. Uranus and Saturn in partnership. Mutual, in communion, as they are in the cosmos, moving together. I'm excited for you, Aquarius. I think you're on your way to something. And I wish you all the very, very best. And I will see you next time. So long, Aquarius.